For decades, travelers whispered about room 317 at the abandoned Ashcroft Hotel. The strange part wasn't that the room was haunted. It was that no one could prove it had ever existed. Old blueprints showed only 316 and 318. Hotel records skipped the number entirely. Former employees denied its existence, while local historians claimed the room had been sealed after a mysterious incident in 1978. Still, every few years, someone reported finding it. And every person who entered came back with the same warning. If you hear knocking from inside the walls, never answer. Most people dismissed the story as another urban legend. Ryan Cole didn't. A documentary filmmaker known for investigating abandoned places, Ryan had built a reputation for exposing fake hauntings and viral internet myths. Millions followed his videos because he never exaggerated anything. If ghosts weren't real, he said so. If a place was dangerous, he explained why. When an anonymous email arrived with the subject line, "Room 317 is waiting," Ryan couldn't ignore it. The message contained only an address, a date, and one sentence. "Come alone. Midnight." No signature. No explanation. No return address. Exactly 1 week later, Ryan parked outside the Ashcroft Hotel. The building stood alone at the edge of the forest, its broken windows reflecting the pale moonlight. Ivy covered the walls, and the rusted entrance doors hung slightly open, moving gently with the wind. His camera read 11:56 p.m. Perfect. He switched on his flashlight, adjusted the microphone on his jacket, and stepped inside. Dust covered the marble floor. The grand staircase had partially collapsed. Old chandeliers hung from the ceiling like giant spiderwebs. Everything was silent. Too silent. Ryan checked the floor directory near the lobby. Rooms 301 to 316. Then, 318 to 330. There was no room 317. He smiled at the camera. Exactly what I expected. As he reached the third floor, his flashlight suddenly flickered. The hallway stretched endlessly before him. Room 312, 313, 314, 315, 316. He took one more step. A door slowly appeared where a blank wall had been only seconds earlier. A tarnished brass plaque read, 317. Ryan's smile disappeared. He slowly reached for the handle. The door opened by itself. Inside was a surprisingly clean room. A bed, a wooden desk, an old clock on the wall. No dust, no windows. Only one light hanging from the ceiling. Resting on the desk was a small envelope. It had his name written on it. Ryan Cole. With trembling hands, he opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. It read, "You're exactly on time." The old clock suddenly chimed. 12 times. Then, a slow knock echoed from inside the wall behind the bed. Knock, knock, knock. Ryan turned toward the sound. A second note slowly slid out from beneath the bedroom door. It contained only 6 words. "Don't let it know you're listening." Ryan stared at the note in his trembling hands. "Don't let it know you're listening." The knocking stopped. The silence that followed felt even worse. He slowly backed away from the wall and pointed his camera toward the bed. Nothing. Just an ordinary hotel room. Then the old clock on the wall began ticking again. Tick, tick, tick. It was moving backward. The room grew colder with every second. Ryan tried the door. It wouldn't open. He pulled harder. Locked. His phone had no signal. His flashlight suddenly went out. The only light left came from the ceiling lamp, which began to flicker. Then, a voice came from inside the wall. Soft. Calm. It sounded exactly like Ryan. "Help me." His heart pounded. It wasn't a recording. It was his own voice. The voice came again. "I'm trapped in here. You have to let me out." Ryan stepped away from the wall. "I know you're not me," he whispered. The room fell silent. Then every wall answered at once. "Are you sure?" A loud crack echoed through the room. A thin line appeared across the wall behind the bed. It slowly widened, as if something on the other side was pushing against it. A pale hand slipped through the crack. Then another. The ceiling light went out. In complete darkness, Ryan heard footsteps. Walking toward him, Ryan held his breath. The footsteps stopped only a few feet away. Then, without warning, the ceiling light flickered back on. The room was empty. The pale hands had vanished. The crack in the wall was gone. Only the old clock remained, still ticking backward. Tick, tick, tick. Ryan looked at the door. It was finally unlocked. He grabbed his camera and rushed into the hallway. But something was wrong. The third floor had changed. Every door now had the same number. 317. He ran. Left. Right. Down the corridor. Every hallway led back to the same room. Panic took over. Then he heard the familiar voice again. This time, it came from behind him. Ryan. He slowly turned around. Standing at the end of the hallway was himself. The other Ryan was smiling. His clothes were torn, his face was pale, and his eyes were completely black. He held Ryan's camera. "I've been trying to leave for years," the double said. "Now it's your turn to stay." The lights went out. A loud slam echoed through the hotel. When the lights returned, the hallway was empty. The next morning, police entered the abandoned Ashcroft Hotel after receiving reports of strange lights during the night. They searched every floor. They found Ryan's backpack, his flashlight, and his camera. The final recording showed Ryan entering room 317. The door closed behind him. Then the video cut to static. No one ever saw him leave. Months later, another filmmaker received an anonymous email. The subject line read, "Room 317 is waiting." Attached was a single photograph. It showed room 317. Standing beside the bed was Ryan, smiling.